welcome, and this is the Grassroots Education and Entertainment Network, your number one source of information, education, and entertainment. For honest, responsible, and dependable information, we stand supreme. To stay focused, inspired, and relaxed, choose green.
Ekabo, and welcome to the Ifagbemiro show. As usual, I would open the show with the Iba. Ope ni fun Olorun, Iba Olodumare, Oba Ajiki, Mojiloni, Morogun Meriaye, Iba Ila Orun, Iba Iwo Orun, Iba Ariwa, Iba Gusu, Iba Oba Igbalie, Iba Orun Oke, Iba Atiwo Orun, Iba She Igungun Kiki Igungun, Iba She Ori Inu, Ipori Atiwo Orun, Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Well, first let me apologize for the late start today. I sort of was a little bit carried away with another activity that I had today, totally forgetting to do this live stream. However, I am still here, so I'm just going to get right into the meat of the subject for today. As you, the viewers, know, we normally, on this program, educate viewers on the basics of the concepts of Ifa Orisa. Today, of course, is no exception. Today, I am going to read an article, as I normally would read from some other source. And the subjects that we're going to discuss today, the first one is we are going to discuss the difference between what is an Irunmole and what is an Orisa, and what is the difference. Now, this is a question that is asked quite a bit because a lot of people have difficulties understanding the difference between the two. All right? When a soul stops learning, then it perishes or goes into perdition. Always seek the path of wisdom through learning. What I want to share with you this day is information about the distinction between Irunmole, Orisa, and Odu. First of all, Irunmole are different from Orishas. Many people confuse the two and use the words Irunmole and Orisa as if they are the same, as if they are two different words referring to the same entity. That is, they are interchangeable, the two words, as if they mean the same thing. To the best of my ability and knowledge of things, and of the wisdom I acquired from my father, these two words are not identical and do not refer to the same entity. Irunmoles are entities created directly from Olodumare, who represent eternity. They cannot taste the bitterness of death nor suffer any consequence of their acts or actions because they always operate on the level of the divine law of life. Both their names and natures are divine or holy from the moment of their creation. They transcend physical, mental, spiritual, and cosmic levels of existence. They are purely divine. their ways of thinking or their ways of thinking, perceiving, and acting transcends that of mankind and other beings who have become divine through a process of growth and evolution. Because the Imoles operate from such an elevated perspective and all embracing divine because Himalayas operate from such, an elevated perspective and all embracing divine understanding, people at times see them as evil because they believe that Himalayas are contrary to the divine laws in creation. They do not. They live in complete harmony with the divine laws and express themselves accordingly. It is absolutely untrue that they act contrary to divine norms, because at all levels of existence, there are laws that no single entity can change. What has been created from the beginning of life, besides Supreme Olodumare, would not work contrary to his divine stature, glory, and plan. Indeed, Olodumare advises his own creation to act and abide by the divine laws so that they would not suffer undesirable and negative consequences. In addition to upright conduct, we can overcome negative effects through self correction and the utilizing of extensive prayer, sacrificed rituals, supplication, initiations, illumination, fasting, and other divine activities which are performed and carried out, thereby drawing upon ourselves divine compassion and mercy by which things can be made to change. One important thing though, we must be obedient followers of Olodumare to reap the benefits of the divine plan. That is the main reason we must learn and have knowledge of these Imoles and Orishas and abide with their ways of life, adhering to the divine life for generational mercy and blessings. Prime among these primordial divine beings are Obatala, Ose Magbo, or Obatala, Obatasa, Oba Tanko, Tako, Ni Ili Iranje. He represents and is the embodiment of purity, honesty, clarity, transparency, straightforwardness, sterling character, faithfulness, divine love, and fidelity. Oronmila Bara Agbonorigon, Ipababa Imole. Orunmila represents and is the embodiment of wisdom, knowledge, understanding, perseverance, patience, and compassion. Orunmila is the one uniquely able to reveal the mysteries of the divine and spiritual plane of existence. All right. Ela omo aussi lagatun or ela opita. Ela represents meticulous power, wonders, unassailable safety, security, forgiveness, and compassion. Ela represents and is the embodiment of transformative power, irresistible charisma, and extraordinary attainments of superhuman feats, and that brings benefit, upliftment, inspiration, and empowerment to the creation in general and to the devotees of Ela in particular. Eshu Lalu, or Girioko, or Eshu Ilegbara. Eshu is the divine messenger of Olodumare and the deliverer of divine messages of the divinities to the devotees. Eshu is the receiver and guardian of divine power, or Ashe. Eshu is the divine minister of justice and is empowered to enforce the divine laws of creation. He gives according to your deed. He protects and defends the right of the law abiding. Ogun lakaye osinimole, Ogun onire, okuri Ogun. Ogun represents and is the embodiment of raw power, endurance, courage, strength, ruggedness, and total victory. Ogun is the defender and guardian of truth. He is also a royal divinity in the absence of Obatala in the assembly of the divinities. It is Ogun who sits in authority in the council of the gods. Ogun represents persistence and strong determination. Ogun is also the spirit of engineering, creativity, hunting, farming, and warriorship. Ogun is skilled in many skills and sciences. He is also an expert master of Ifa. The life and wisdom of Ogun is very deep and multifaceted. Ogun prefers death before dishonor. Ogun values rectitude more than life. He is a great and wonderful divinity. He is loyal and faithful and compensates handsomely his devotees for their dedication and service to him. Shango Olugbode Arabambi. Note, there are two different Shangos. The first Shango came with the first set of divinities or Imoles to the world, and the second Shango was born as a man and later became a king in the city called Oyo Ile. When he died, he became an Orisha because of his power, attitude, and habits. His followers worship him, and later his worshippers spread over the entire human race. Like the Yoruba phrase states, Ojo abakuso la endere, that is, at death man turns into deity. Shango represents fearlessness, thunder, wind, the power which is able to intimidate all wrongdoers. He is the unstoppable force of God. He represents fire, light, and the unlimited capacities of man to attain all objects and life plans. Oro, this is an ancestral divinity that came and followed the other divinities to the world of the physical plane and transformed at the point of death. Oro represents the spiritual understanding of physical, and likewise the wisdom of the spiritual is attained and understood at the physical level of existence. Try to understand one great point. These Irunmoles, or primordial entities, have no beginning of days, no end of days. As they came to the world, so they went back to the divine plane through mystical transformation. Because of their unique nature, everything about them was shrouded in pure mystery and secrecy. Only the initiated devotees of the Imoles can know them at depth. Orishas were once human beings, but through their extraordinary works and activities in the physical plane, or Ayakamara, they turned into great messengers of God, and they were later revered and adored by the people. This actually led to the definition, or the deification, sorry, immortality and worship by people throughout the world till today. Most of these Orishas include Oshun Inoibu or Yeye Oshun Yegaye. She represents inner power, beauty, energy, dominion, and attractions. Oshun is also known as the manly woman because of her courageousness, bravery, fearlessness, and fierceness in protecting the rights and privileges of all, especially those of women and children. Oshun is also an expert interpreter of the Korisha oracle. Oshun was the wife of Irunmole and is an expert in Ifa. Shango, Olokuso, Akasa, Yere Yere, Oko, Oya. Ina Lojo, Ina Lenung, the king of oil. He represents human transformation into a larger than life entity. Yewa, one of the greatest and favorite wives of Shango, the king of Oyo Alafin. She represents beauty, courage, and the ability to win all competitive steps. Esa is another reputable wife of the great king of Oyo. She represents simplicity, attention, and dynamic power. Oshosi is the first hunter and reputably wise and faithful followers and friends of Ogun Onire. He represents wisdom, cunning, understanding, and hunting power of man in creation. He knows the trials of life and how to walk among them. He is a master tracker and hunter. He represents honor, integrity, diligence, hard work, and extraordinary intelligence. Now, there are many others, all right, which we would deal with in the next reading, which would be for next week's show. All right, that was quite a bit, but fortunately, we were able to cover who and what is a Imole. We were also able to also address the issue of Orisha. You're going to hear some people say Irunmole. You're going to hear some people say Imole. All right. Generally is in reference to the same thing, but in the future, we would get into what is the true distinction between those two things. All right. And maybe the pronunciation too. All right. So basically, that is all that is going to be covered in this week's show. And as usual, I am going to give some information concerning where these streams can be viewed. But before I do that, I would tell you a little bit about more educational opportunities for viewers. If you are interested in learning more about Ifa Orisha, there is the African Indigenous Tradition Community, which meets every Tuesday at the Barataria Community Center at 5 p.m. The Barataria Community Center is on 6th Avenue and it's opposite the recreation ground. We also have a list of virtual activities. For example, on Sunday at 5 p.m., we have the traditional health show. On Friday at 6:30 p.m., we have the community discussion, the Ifa Orisha community discussion show. On a Wednesday, we have this show, which is the Ifagbemiro show, where we teach Ifa basics. Right? We have classes also online for astrology every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. And on a Friday at 5 p.m., we also have etymology classes. All right. Now, in terms of viewing these streams, I'm going to share with you the various platforms on which you can actually view this video and other videos like it. All right. You can view it at the Ifa Orisha Community Congress, also at the Ifa Orisha Tradition Teaching Group of Trinidad and Tobago, also at the Ifagbemiro home of Ifa Orisha Tradition, as well as on the Traditional Herbal Health Network International, on the Ifa Orisha Institute of Sacred and Divine Sciences, on the Ifa Orisha Tradition Discussion Group of Trinidad and Tobago, You could also view it on the African Indigenous Tradition Community Group on Facebook, as well as the Orisa Baptist Small Business and Medium Business Alliance. You could view it on the Orisa Baptist Teaching Moments, and as well as on the Grassroots Education and Entertainment Network. For viewing these streams on YouTube, you can go to the Ifagbemiro home of Ifa Orisha Tradition on YouTube, where you will be able to view the stream. Okay, at the end of this video, another video is going to pop up. I would ask you to try to view that video. All right, outside of that, I would like viewers to share, like, as well as subscribe. Okay, with that, I would like to say Odabor and see you all next week.